By the end of this video, you will have an understanding on how to add scene transitions into your games. For the best tips and tricks on game programming and game development, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a video every Monday. My name is George Wulfers and I am a professional game developer. Let me guide you on your game developer journey. Step number 1. Create the canvas fader class. Okay, so let's start by opening Unity. We need to go to the scripts folder and create a new script. As always, we're going to call it Canvas Fader UI. Opening up Visual Studio, and let's open our script. So this script is going to be a mono singleton, and it's going to take in a canvas group. We are not going to need these, and first function we're going to have is going to be called make active, which is going to toggle between an active canvas group and an inactive canvas group, which is going to modify the alpha so that we can or cannot see it, and it's gonna change between the states of if we can interact with it or not. We're gonna be needing to initialize this and make sure that it is active when we first initialize. Then we're gonna need a function to fade in, as well as a coroutine, which, if you don't know what a coroutine is, we've talked about this in previous episodes, so make sure to go watch those. But basically, we're going to make sure, if we're going to fade in, that means it's going to go from black to whatever the UI is or the game. So we're going to start with this as active at all times. And then we're going to start from this T is going to be our opacity, and as well as we're going to be using the delta time to slowly change it into from 1 to 0 or 0 to 1. Then apply that to the canvas group, and we are going to make sure that this loop doesn't halt our game. We're going to be using yield return null. You can also use yield return wait until or whatever else, but for this purpose we're using yield return null because we don't really want to do anything extra. We don't want to wait for seconds. We don't want to do anything else. And once we're done with this while loop, we're going to make sure that that all of these are set properly. So we're going to make it false, because sometimes when doing this with a while loop, changing the alpha, it might not go all the way to 1 or 0. So that's just a precaution that we're just taking and making sure that it is. Okay? We're also going to have a fade out function, which is going to be pretty much the same except for one thing. This one, it's going to take an event or a delegate. In this case, they call it action. And pretty much what this is, we've also talked about this before, but it's pretty much a function that you can pass in to this function so that we can trigger it whenever something happens or whenever something finishes from happening. So in here, what we would like to do is whenever the fade out ends, we're going to end up with a black screen. So we want to go into the next scene or level. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be passing in a function that tells it what level to load, so that this is reusable throughout the whole program, and it's not really hard-coded. So yeah, we're just passing the fade out. Pretty much happens but in reverse order. And we always check to see if it's not null, just so that we don't crash. And if it is not null, that means we have something here. The memory is valid, so we invoke that. And we don't want to pass any data to it, like we don't want to have like that, you know. So we just want a void function. Step number 2. Create the new game popup class. Okay, so back in Unity, let's go create the next class that we need. We're going to call it new game popup. And this is going to be also a mono singleton class, and we're going to take in several parameters. So the first one is going to be a canvas group, so that we can show and hide this. The second one is going to be a text mesh pro UGUI to have a window title. We're going to have an input field as well that comes from text mesh pro, and we're going to have 2 buttons. One is going to be to confirm, and the other one is going to be to cancel. Now, keep in mind, this is not really part of the transition screen, but this is something that we would like to do in our game to get the player's name. Okay, so like before, we're going to have a make active function. It works exactly the same as the other one. We're also going to have an initialize function. Okay, so what is this going to do? In initialize, we're going to make sure that this is not showing. And we're going to set the window title to whatever we want it to be. And we're going to set a default player name for the player. So if they want to change it, they can. And if they don't want to change it, then they are not required to input any names. Because that can get like kind of sucky when you have to re-input the same name over and over again. So this is another way right here of adding a function to the on-click event for the buttons. Instead of doing it from Unity and the inspector, we can actually do it through code as well, just like this. 2 functions, one to open the window, this is going to make it active, and one to close the window, that's going to be to make it inactive. Okay? And then we're going to have the unconfirm button clicked. And what this is going to do, we are going to first get the text field from the input field for the player name. We're going to store that into a variable, and we're going to make sure that it is not an empty string. If it's an empty string, then it's not a valid string. We want data in it so that we can actually have a proper name. So then we're going to get the match info, and we are going to create the new match just like we did in the main menu. And we're going to pass in the player name and it's going to be false for now. We're not going to worry about multiplayer here. I feel like that's a very advanced topic. Then we're going to make sure that our canvas fader exists, and we're going to call out the fade out function, and we're going to pass in this lambda function that just calls the scene manager from Unity and loads the scene called demo. And the last button that we have to worry about, it's going to be on the uncancel button clicked. All we're going to do here is just close the window. Now, a good thing to note is that if you want, let's say you have different option, like an option menu that you populate through a code or a database or something like that. This is a very good way of adding, actually, this is a very good way using a lambda function of adding functionality to those buttons. Step number 3, create the user interfaces. All right, so we're going to create the first user interface, and we're going to start off with the pop-up. So we're going to create a panel that is called pop-ups. We're gonna not have the image, and in there we're gonna create another one, and this one's gonna be called new game pop-up UI. Okay, and let's do that. So this is going to be the root of this pop-up, and what I wanted to do is whenever we click on it, I want the background to fade out, kind of, not really fade out, but you know, become dim. So we're just gonna do 0.75. Why do you not let me do 75? Really? 7490. Okay. Anyway, so that's that. And then we're gonna have a little pop-up. So we're gonna need another panel, and we're gonna call this background panel, and we're gonna make it be in the middle of the screen. It's gonna be about yay big, and we want it to not be transparent. I think that color should be okay. And then this one is gonna have a vertical layout and upper center. We're gonna have a window title. We're gonna have a contents panel. And we're also going to have a buttons panel. Window title, let's create this to be about that big. We're gonna auto size that We're gonna center it and gonna add some padding. Okay. Let's do this one to be 100 as well, and it'll be like that. And this one, let's see, how big is this? 700. So this one's going to be that big. And the width is going to be 1000 times 0.95. So 950. And this one is going to be a little bit darker, I think. And it's going to be maybe like that. We'll see, maybe less. Maybe like that. I think like that's good. And in here, we're going to have another vertical layout. Upper center, and we're pretty much just gonna have, for now, we're just gonna have a single panel probably. Player name panel, and this one is going to be horizontal layout group. We're gonna have middle center, and we're gonna have a text mesh pro, and as well as a input field from text mesh pro. Width is gonna be 950. Height is gonna be 100. And let's see. Okay, that's gonna be it. And this one's gonna be 100, maybe less, maybe 50, maybe 200, 400. And then we're just gonna grab these and we're gonna say auto size. And we're gonna get the placeholder and just say player name ... and that's it. So that's how that's gonna be. We're gonna do that and name them properly. And then the button panel is just gonna have a horizontal layout as well. It's gonna be centered as well. And we're just gonna have 2 buttons right there. So, button. So let's say 50, maybe 200. We're gonna delete that text. We're gonna change it for a text mesh pro. And I'm gonna call it something like that. Make sure this is within the bounds of the button. We're gonna call this confirm. We're going to make it black. We're going to auto size, and it's going to be centered, and it's going to have a padding as well. So this is going to be the confirm button. And a cancel button. And maybe we can have this in the middle. How does it look in the middle? Let's get rid of this image. Remove. I don't know. You guys can decide on yours, but I think I might leave it up there. Who knows? All right, so in here, in the game, new game pop-up UI object, we're gonna put in our new game pop-up, and now we gotta just fill it out. Oh, so yeah, we need a canvas group here. So we gotta put this guy here. We need the window title label, goes there. Player name input field, which goes there. Confirm button goes there. And the cancel button goes there. Okay. So that is that UI that we need. Now we need another UI, and this one is going to be, actually, let's just grab this guy, copy, paste it so that we don't have to so that we don't have to reset it up. Sorry, the first one is already set up so that it stretches and compresses with whatever screen's resolutions we have. So now this one's going to be the canvas fader, and we don't need any of that. We just need a panel. And we're just gonna call it panel, we don't know. We're gonna make it black and all the way like that, and it's gonna have a canvas group as well. Now, this canvas fader has to be on top of all of the canvases that are in your game, because we want to be able to overlay it on top of all of the UI. So we need to go into our canvas here, and on the sort order we want it to be 1, and because this one, the main menu, is actually 0. Okay, and we just want to add the canvas fader UI right here and pass in the canvas group, and that's it for this. Now let's copy this canvas fader. Actually, we can just go into the prefabs and drag it in here. And let's go into our demo scene and just drop it in there. Is this making sense for you? Comment below and let me know. Step number 4. Integrate into the game. Let's go to our scripts, and we gotta open our main menu. And in the start function, we just gotta call the the canvas fader UI and just tell it we want to fade in. And we also have to change the on start game clicked, because this, we don't want it to do anything. We don't want it to do that anymore. What we want to do now is we want to be able to open our pop-up menu, so we gotta do this now. We just gotta do the same thing that we always do, ask it if it exists, and if it does, then we just open that pop-up menu. Okay, so that's it for the main menu script. Let's go to the match manager now, which is, here we go. So on match setup, right here, before we go into any game stuff, because we only wanted to do it once the game starts and when the game ends, okay? So right here in this place, we want to fade in again, okay? And when we win, or when we lose, when we go back to the main menu, we want to also call this next thing. Where is it? Match ended coroutine, right here. So we also want to fade out, and we want to say, okay, now we want to go to the main menu. Just like we did in our new game pop-up, we're passing it a function that we want to create, that we created. Okay, so that should do it. Step number 5 and final step, test and play your game. All right, so here comes the fun part. Let's play it. We're in the main menu, and so this is actually, let's make sure that that is like that. And you can see that we fade in. So this pops up, and you can change the name here. Oh. Okay, let's do one more thing actually. Let's go and add to the buttons sound. So we're gonna pass in the sound player in here. We're gonna make sure that all these two buttons are sound effects, and the confirm sound effects is going to be this one, and we're just gonna put that in there and go to play sound. And same thing with this one. This one, the sound is going to be closing effect, and we're going to also play sound. Okay, so let's go ahead, fades in. Let's go to start a game. As we can see, we now have that, and then it fades out. Once it fades out, it goes to the next level, fades back in, and then we can play. And once we lose, it should fade out, should go back to the main menu, and fade in. And there we go. That is how you create a transition between scenes, or scene transitions. Congratulations! Now you know how to implement and add simple scene transitions into your games. If you would like to follow along, I have provided a link to our projects for you to download in the description below. Make sure to grab it. Also, if you would like to be part of an amazing community of dedicated individuals on the same journey as you, I have a Facebook group where I help you and support you on your game programming journey. Check out these videos on how to make a 2D game using Unity. If you like this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe and share this with your friends.